Well,
Hello. I'm cutting him off. He doesn't get to talk. He doesn't get to talk yet. It's week 5. Well, supposedly. It's a weird season, but it is still season 50 of ETF2L. Hi, chat. How you doing? Hope you're having a good one. We're looking at Aragosta and Aware tonight. I'm Cerny, joined by Ben on the production and Turbo on the mic, caster of the season. You may now speak. You have been granted permission.
who? Me? Oh, don't stop it, Cerny. We've all been cast of the season sometime or another. Okay, maybe just me in the channel, but it's fine. It's okay. I'm a humble boy.
It's fine. You get to write that after 49 seasons.
It's fine. I won't lord it over you. But yeah, it's going to be really fun casting as caster of the season tonight.
Sure. Just let it sink in. No, this should be fun. I mean, it's actually like a chance for the Demo Night team Aware to still make playoffs, right? We talked about this a little bit pre-game. There's a chance actually that they could still make it.
Yeah, you're right. It is Aware versus Aragosta, and it's the season where weeks don't matter, really, Cerny. It is week 5, but we're technically in sort of pseudo week 3, week 4. Some teams have been playing double shifts at the old official arena of ETF2L, and well, they also announced some details about the playoff system, which means only top 3 teams this time around are going to be getting the playoff bracket at all. Do you think this is a concern for the teams, or do you think this feels right with the fact that there's only 6 teams in the season?
I mean, it's usually half of the table that gets into playoffs, so keeping that consistency alive is fair, I think. I think it's not unreasonable. I think people would have been happy with either outcome, right? Keeping it at 4 teams because it's always 4 teams, or keeping it at 3 teams because it's half of the table. I think I don't think either outcome would have made too many people upset. I think making it 3 teams makes it a little bit more interesting in this playoffs race, because now you actually have a bit of a race here for the final playoff slot. Because I mean, considering how short of a season is as well, it's not like a team is really pulling ahead that much in points, right? There's less matches overall, so there's less time to make up a difference, but there's also less difference to make up potentially.
Yeah, that is definitely a positive attitude to these sort of matches, although it's been looking very rock, paper, scissors to say how many little games it takes to get into that playoff bracket. You saw, I think a couple of nights ago, Aware took off a map away from Nandem, who in many people's eyes is seen as the favourite for the season, just because they've got so many veterans on there that have actually won the regular ETF2L season on that roster. But yeah, Aware versus Aragosta, in theory, on paper, Cerny, this should be the close matchup, because these are the 2 ankle biters, the ones that are at the bottom of the table.
At least currently they are, yeah. It's always subject to change. Either team getting 6 points here puts them in a very different position, and then, depends on how their final match goes. For instance, for Aware, that would be up against the Czech team whenever they choose to play that final match, which, well, should be a tougher matchup for them. So if they can get themselves some more points here, after stealing some from Nandem, who, to be fair, weren't fielding their A-team, I think, for that match. I looked at the match page. I didn't watch it live, but I looked at the match page. They weren't fielding their A-team for it, so perhaps that had something to do with it as well. But I mean, yeah, any points they can get themselves gives them a nice little shot to actually still make playoffs with the meme team. On the other side, Aragosta, they can put themselves in just as good of a position, and more importantly, they have to not be the team that loses 6 points to Demo Night.
Yeah, I think this is more like a skill check for a lot of teams, or kind of maybe a positivity check, a mental check for some. I've had it described to me as a market gardener on wheels, where they just kind of roll on in, and sometimes it'll get you out of nowhere, and sometimes it won't. And some teams have reacted positively, some have reacted negatively. It's now our pleasure to see if Aragosta will be able to deal with this Demo Night. So we start off with our first map. That's going to be Process, and then shortly after we'll have another map that's going to be Sultry. I'm Turbo Times. I'm joined with Cerny on the co-cast, and we've got Ben PL covering our game of Aware versus Aragosta. What's happening on mid, Cerny?
Well, so far so good. It's just a little bit of spam. I mean, it's a pretty normal mid for the side of Aragosta at the end of the day, but it doesn't matter, because there goes your man. Odin just charges right on in, gets that pick. That's the one he's looking for, and that's all that mattered. It just crumbles off the back of that. Sure, they've also lost a lot of players on their side, mind you. It's only Omger and Odin left alive, but those 2 are all you need if you want to live the well, win the mid fight anyway. So, you know, it's not like the decisive mid win they could have wanted. Unforgiven to die. They're not going to have an Uber necessarily to get into last with, but they got a lot of momentum.
So that was an example of the Demo Knight showing probably the most impactful mid it can have, where it gets a solid jump off, it gets that first initial crit and kills the medic. Couldn't ask for a better mid from Odin, and really you're kind of banking for that the rest of your team to kind of play off the chaos factor of it. Although they were a very good job on Aragosta to kind of realize, okay, we've lost our medic. If we immediately go now, we can equalize the medic situation, which they did. And honestly, it just came down to the wire about these little post fights, and it probably helped that Odin got that extra kill at the end. But we're throwing in a soldier over on Aware, whilst Odin trying to weasel his way in from choke. They'll lose Sake over in no man's land, and well, now they're just trying to keep healed up, keeping up the pressure despite losing a player, and they still want to throw another player in. Odin can't latch onto anybody though, I'm afraid, Cerny.
Yeah, not that time around. They had him on lockdown, and it's going to be an Uber exchange off the tail end of that. It's obviously going a bit better for Aragosta here, but they don't have positioning. Buko is still holding the charge forward here as well, together with Umger. Both of these scouts trying to run a little bit of haywire here on that point, and well, they're not finding much, but Archer is there with the cleanup. Gets a couple of frags in his pocket. Umger on the chase as well onto the medic on last here. Ivalos not finding himself in a good position at all. One soldier to protect him, but neither of them have good health. It just about gets to spawn as Raven comes out to spawn. Oh, it's a rough position anyway for Aragosta. They got two players. There's still a soldier to deal with as well. They finally clean up Orange here after all that time. But now they're on last. Now they have to hold it, and they even have an Uber to set.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with Aware there. They had a nice little sync up of like plays. They obviously milked a little bit of that Uber and made it a bit more punishing to come in. And obviously the soldiers came in at that perfect time when the Ubers displaced on both sides. Very good play from Aware. It shows that they have this potential to kind of play with the Demo Knight, not just all about the Demo Knight.
Making it work the way it's supposed to be working. The way maybe God intended, who knows, as Odin waltzes on forward, looking for a target. They're up on the high ground. It's not that easy to get there when you're the Demo Knight, and I'm gonna have to see if this Uber makes something happen instead. They just push right in, but they're just getting on the cap and nobody's there. Nobody's there on the point whatsoever, and then they just gap it right off. It doesn't even matter. The Demo Knight was just a distraction on the left side.
Yeah, this is one of the aspects of TF2 that sends people a bit loopy. There's a regular way to play this game, and regular ways meet regular expectations. For example, one of those should be the demo man should be in that Uber, but because he wasn't, they could send two scouts in that Uber, and two scouts are escorted to the point. They clear the point so much quicker, they cap the point so much quicker. They're just not used to it over on Aragosta.
It's going to be another mid-fight they find themselves in again instead. Will they be able to keep their medics safe and sound this time around as Odin charges right across? Nice little sword connection! Unbelievable! Oh my goodness!
My God, that was straight out of an anime! He just came by like, I think there was a moment
pre-firing the sword and everything as well, so it connected the perfect frame. Good lord. And it doesn't matter, because they wiped.
Yeah, I mean, as cool as that kill was, it doesn't kill 6 people on the mid. And this is seeing a bit of the weakness of the Demo Knight. It's not really splashable. You're not doing team damage here. You're doing single target, and it's not really a big deal in the land of 6v6.
It's not cutting it in this case, at least. They're going to have to find themselves on a last instead as Odin. He's probably going to start off-classing to stickies, perhaps, if he considers it. That usually what he does for last.
He does like to go for the stickies. And that was probably one of my bigger criticisms of the lad, is he loves to use the shield even at this last point, but hopefully he gave the cast a little bit of a listen and realized that sticky bomb's pretty good, you know, and I could always switch out.
On defense, yeah, when you're defending against like an entire team that's gonna come in through your lobby any second now, they've wasted quite a lot of time, and with the medic being dead at the same time as well means that there is an equal Uber situation. Radish getting picked off by Buko as well is going to slow things down on this push a little bit as Archer tries to push into lobby to follow up with something, doesn't quite get it though. It's going to be a reset for now. Aragosta not quite able to get much more done, and they still have to worry about the sniper as well. Buko, he's a bit of a menace on that sniper rifle from time to time, so you got to be careful not to underestimate this man. He can cause some havoc, so you got to be careful.
Yeah, he is certainly the moon to the sun of Odin. He is basically eclipsed sometimes during some of these Demo Knight plays, when really he's quite a pest, kind of a sniper main, it feels like at times. So let's see if he kind of keeps pressure up. He will get a starting pick onto triple, and that's going to give a bit of breathing room for where I'm going to keep in my back of my mind, certainly, that they're going to go for the time reset on all of these defenses here.
It's a good chance that they might go for that. You need a lot to push out, to be fair. Process, not as easy to push out as some other last points in the 5 CP map pool. So, you know, they need a little bit more than just a frag or two to really get out of this. And obviously with Aware and the game they play, it's even harder to get out when you don't have the stickies necessarily, right? If Odin switches off as soon as possible. It's going to be interesting to see how they approach that, if they do so. And obviously Aragosta, well, they have to just make something happen. They're down around, the ball's in their court, they take care of the sentry. That's going to open things up a little bit for their soldiers. Actually, a lot of Grunty Davey eats a lot of damage.
Oh my god, Raven's in. Raven's out. Yeah. Get down, Raven. Oh dear. Well, that's 2 players picked off. Sake is in. He's got a nice pick, so he's traded out his life, but he's bought room for his team to get in. Oh my god, Buko is still causing havoc. Uvel, he is stuck in the corner, has to pop off Uber to just keep himself out of a sticky sniper situation. So he lives, but it costs him.
Forced to just the sniper sightline is truly one of the most terrifying ways to lose your Uber advantage. At the very least, they keep the medic alive. The whole team is there to try and defend mid as well, maybe get an early pop out of Unforgiven. They still have the sniper at the end of the day. Buko, you know, unless he's hitting shots in this fight, he's not going to be doing all that much, so they're lacking a bit of damage. There's a chance that they can maybe kite this or do with it well, but Odin going to take the high ground for now, not committing to the charge too much. And it's going to be Aragosta just backing off. A sole soldier left behind. Maki trying his best to make something happen, but it's not happening. You got to get out of there. And now you have to deal with Zuber potentially coming your way because you still don't have. And it's actually starting to be a little bit of a messy situation for Aragosta.
Yeah, the position isn't fantastic, though, over on the side of Augusta. And I can understand they just don't want to kind of overextend themselves here. They throw in Odin, they find the triple kill, and well, Raven is actually hiding in the forward respawn, just getting a cheeky little like pick off with the heavy weapons guy. But they've done it. They've managed to get the second point on lockdown, and yeah, the Ubers are traded, but it's mission accomplished for Aware.
Yeah, they basically leapfrogged the entire map off of the back of one Uber ad. They still have Buka on the sniper as well, now sniping into last instead of outside of it, and Davey is playing with fire with that sideline, but he's getting away with it for now, living for the time being. It's a dangerous sniper angle to get as well, but they got it unlocked for the time being. They really need to shut down Buko here, and they're doing a good job at it. Soldiers on top of it, they're making sure that the sniper does not get away with anything more. Sake tries to sack himself and just gets traded out for Rodisher on the other side, and it's looking like this might just open things up a little bit for either team to maybe send another sack in that they wouldn't quite expect, but no, they're taking it slow.
Yeah, so again, still rocking that sniper, but they've got, in theory, the counter to it, which is basically holding close with the medic, got a nice bit of armor on top of him as well. Well, as best as you can make armor in this game, where he's just going to hide behind the dispenser. Hopefully it just takes a couple of pot shots away from that sniper to actually get the medic down. But Sake, he's got other ideas. He's going to just come in on the spy class, and I don't think I'm going to see this coming. I don't see any sorts of clash checking over on Augusta.
Yeah, they're not going to be ready for it, at least. They should start to get a little bit more suspicious with how passive or Aware are starting to be here, right? They're not even committing to lobby much at all. They're very far back, and they should be starting to
He's uncloaked.
He's
dropping down, but it's a tale as old as time. The engineer has spotted the spy, I should say, and he goes for the sap gameplay. I mean, maybe in the panic he tried to do that. Maybe he wanted to sync with his team. I've seen some spies doing this play, and I think it can work.
Yeah, if you got like soldiers ready to jump at the same time, that could have worked, but Archer clearly wasn't in position or ready for it. Didn't quite work out. So it's just gonna reset. He's just going back to the soldier instead, and it's more and more looking like this clock timer, this 3 minutes that's left on the clock, might be our future at this point. I mean, Aware are trying a lot of different things to try and get this, this hold busted, and Triple's now checking as well to make sure for the off classes, so
Yeah, well
They
played.
gotta find something. They gotta
Well
find
played.
something.
Nice fundamentals kind of showing themselves here. Rotter's keeping one on lockdown. They just go for the Uber exchange. Arenstra can't quite get out, but finally gets out in the tail end of things. And Odin was just trying to fish for a kill during all that chaos. And that's the key word, it seems, for Aware and the gameplay. It's just they thrive off chaos. They want the chaos to kind of go. But the sentry guns, the dispensers, the clash check-in, these are anti-chaos methods. And it's keeping them in check for the moment.
If you know what your opponent's doing, that does a lot, especially when it's, a team that does unorthodox things. Because a lot of times you can just assume stuff when you're going up against a normal team, but obviously Aware is far from the normal Sixes team, so being aware of what's going on, pun not intended, and Triple hitting a nice little headshot there onto Archer as well, opening things up a bit for the defense to maybe get a bit more aggressive, get some more angles somewhere, or at the very least just slow down Aware even more. They've brought another minute off the clock right at this point, so they're doing okay on that. Buko has not hit any shots in the last 3 minutes as well. He just hasn't gotten the angles, hasn't gotten the opportunities necessarily. Maybe pressure mounting a bit, who knows, but he's not pulling much, and at some point you might just ask yourself, why commit to the sniper for this long if you're not going to be able to convert a push off of it, right?
It's hard. This is probably one of the more difficult aspects of sniper, at least when you need to get a play going out of thin air. But I mean, if you give enough rolls of the dice, even if you need double sixes, you're eventually going to roll them if you just give them enough opportunities. So I'm more in the favor of Aware right now in this position than I am on Aragosta.
At the end of the day, they have a minute left on the clock now, right? They might as well just send it. The Uber exchange is inevitably going to happen. There it is, as they send it right in, see what they can do with it. Unfortunately, no snickies means the sentry takes 2 soldiers to be taken down, and that's all they find with it as well. Odin can't get any kills claimed
Buko's
either.
Gone down as well, and
Buko goes down. Yeah, that's the two carries of the team gone. Unforgiven gets taken care of. No heals now. Sick cleaned up. It's only Archer and Umger on the runaway. It's gonna be a retake for Aragosta.
Yeah, keep in mind, Roticher went behind there, got on top of Unforgiven, and got rid of the medic. So this feels like a pretty nice time to push out and accept this round. Some teams could opt to just go for the round reset as well and just make another attempt at mid, but they feel pretty confident with this Uber advantage.
Yeah, I mean, it's something to work with. It's certainly sizable. Archer going down again as well.
Gets a slice into Davey. Davey needs a bit of a crossbow loving and will get it, but that's put pressure on the rest of his squad as they're not going to get the same sort of attention from their dear old mother medics. Let's see. We have held on to mid. They've got the Uber though, so in theory they could just send it. Yep, they're going to pop off the Uber. They're going forward now. Nice jump by Davey here, and a very nice clean cut off. Buko's going to make things a bit pear-shaped by getting a random kill onto Roticher, but the grand scheme of things, that was a very successful Uber for Aragosta.
Beautifully done. Probably Aware being maybe a bit too eager, too aggressive. Odin clearly looked like he was about to go for some sort of charge through choke and got completely caught off guard by the combo being as close as they were, and then obviously gets caught in the Uber and the Davey damage follow-up. Beautifully done. Worked wonderfully. There's the second claimed as well for Aragosta. Now, though, the Uber ad isn't as large anymore. Unforgiven did die, but at the end of the day, it also spawned decently fast, so it's only about, 25% right now, so they gotta work for this. They gotta make this work quickly. They won't have a chance of getting into this last for Aragosta. They have an opportunity to convert around, and we're looking at a pause as well, it seems. So,
interesting.
I wonder what has happened in the next 90 seconds in the future.
I mean, you could make some educated guesses here, usually when the timing of these pauses happen for one or two teams, but let's not spoil anything here, so let's keep our viewers on their toes. I'm sure they're smart, they could probably put 2 and 2 together, but I'm going to focus on some positives. Let's look at this, break down this last hold for Aware, and we've got Odin. He's actually rocking the sticky launcher this time, so it's going to be an Uber advantage going in for Aragosta. I see a couple of classes. Engineer, it's kind of a little bit of a weird spot, but not the most strangest. Buko and Sniper. Is there anything that you kind of suspect that's going to happen in the next 90 seconds time?
I mean, if you're Aragosta, you basically have to use in as fast as you can. If you want to have a chance at utilizing this ad, it's just large enough that if you move quickly, you can catch out the enemy team, maybe even catch out Unforgiven, which would obviously, give you a bit of a silver platter situation. Well, but if they don't move fast enough, then crumbles very quickly, right?
I can add more details for yourself and for our little casting viewers out there. It is the Aragosta pause, so whether or not that tells you that's a bit more tactical or technical is up for your position, Cerny.
Perhaps, well, I don't want to say anything necessarily to spoil it or, make it a foregone conclusion, but sometimes teams like to pause after what should be a surefire push, right? And when they beef it, so who knows? That could have happened.
I mean, let me play devil's advocate for a second. They could have also thought this is their moment to get back into the game, a definite advantage over a wear, and things go awry, things go wrong, someone's mouse disconnects, or perhaps things go completely wrong, and they need to get a tactical pause in just to kind of recoup and figure out what are we going to do.
Potential. It's certainly possible. That being said, I mean, yeah, if they move fast, they can definitely catch out this last hold as it starts to unpause right here. Essentially still not quite into the right position. They got a sniper cover in it as well, but it's going to be down to this Uber. They come right through. Davey doesn't quite get the sticky jump that he wants to, though. The unorthodox central position catches him out for a while, but it does get taken care of eventually. Now it's going to be onto that point, and a little bit of pressure on it. It's going to be enough to work with, though. They trade out a couple of frags, either side Unforgiven very low, but eventually does get his Uber off, and that is crucial for hanging onto this point as the Buko Heavy rolls onto it as well, make sure nobody can get close to that, and the players are just falling like dominoes for the side of Aragosta.
Yeah, it was very clean and controlled from Aware, using the Uber straight away. They don't want to mince and kind of play min-max here. They just know what's good enough for the defense, and they just popped it off immediately and then made the push out. This does mean that Yuval has got an Uber ready, bubbling away potentially. Odin's going to throw himself in. Doesn't quite find the picks he's going for. He's still hanging about at choke there. Nobody's really addressing him. They finally kill him off now. And the issue with having this Demo Knight going in, you feel like you need your entire team to go in with you, and sometimes you're just entering the meat grinder, and my god, is it grinding meat.
The problem as well with that Demo Knight is if you beef the swing, you're absolutely screwed. You have both use your charge, so you have no mobility to get out, and you have very little capabilities to really fight back at people. So the fact that it took so long to kill Odin was basically just delaying his spawn inevitably even longer, because he's not really doing much there. Everybody's got enough health to survive a swing, and there you are, right? So they convert the round off the back of that. Aragosta tie it up, and this is where the pause came through. So clearly, this was either a little technical thing going wrong at the end of the round, or quick tack to get yourself back on topic. That being said, we're 1-1 halfway through the map. It's our next mid-fight, and we'll have to see if either team can start taking a lead in this again.
What the? This isn't MGE, Mackie says. He's getting 2v1 by two soldiers here, and my god, they're going to punish the third party here. And he's going to get cleaned up now. This allows Mackie to jump in and get some kill and space against Unforgiven. And we're actually rocking the force of nature here. They've identified that this is actually an excellent way to deal with the Demo Knight. If you can just control this momentum, cancel the charge with the momentum cancelling force of nature. What is a Demo Knight to do?
It's working surprisingly well. I'm quite impressed. Normally you don't see it all that much, but unorthodox times require unorthodox measures, I suppose. That's how it's gonna be here, and it's been working well. Raven's been hitting the shots, getting a nice cleanup done with it as well. The Force of Nature, at the end of the day, has technically, at least for those two shots, higher DPS than the Scattergun ever could have, right? It dumps that damage so quickly that if you hit both of those, you have good potential. So it's going to be another Uber for Aragosta off the back of that wonderful mid-fight into this last point. They're going to have to start getting some frags, so get some cap time down as well. Half the points already capped off, but they haven't quite fragged anybody yet. Raven's the only one to fall on the other side, and not really getting many kills. It's just a bit of a battle of attrition that's slowly but surely going the way of Aware. The defenders have the advantage in those, and with Buko still being so healthy, has that heavy on the point as well, I hardly see anything happening here, and potentially even Aware pushing out with 3 frags going their way. Yeah, that's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, I think Davey there spent a little bit too much time staring at Buko on that sniper on that doorway, when really, once you got the sentry gun, you need to turn and go across to the point and fight all these other players, or maybe even block off your own sort of capture from that point. Just get a bit more active on that Demoman class. Speaking of active on the Demoman class, Odin's going to get a kill onto Davey, and he's already pressuring now. This is the most volatile point for a team fighting against a Demo Knight, when you lose that first initial kill and things start snowballing. Because Odin needs a team effort to kind of bring down here with all that resistance on him.
Yeah, and then Odin also charges in and forces your med. It's not a nice situation to be in, man.
100%.
As well. You you can't blame Yuval. That was
They're
completely
in. They don't
necessary.
even use the Uber.
Yeah.
Odin has got Rotisher. He's even technically got the Sentry Gun as well. Well, they've lost their scout on point. They've got nobody to cap the point. They've got a Uber, but it's useless right now because they're not even popping it. And they're taking their sweet time about it. They could probably pressure the point now, realize that yes, they are invulnerable, they can fight this, but they lose Arantra during the Uber, but he takes it off the one scout that's capping the point. They kind of stumble the steps at first here, Cerny, but they've managed to catch themselves from falling.
Yeah, got a little shaky there. Got a little shaky there for Aware at some point, but I guess the late Uber kind of played in their hands at the end of the day, right? They had enough frags beforehand. They managed to pressure with the Uber, pull it off the scout at the right time, get that cap finished off. It worked out. It was a bit shaky. It was definitely not what you would call textbook, but nothing's textbook with this game, with this team. It's Aware that we're talking about at the end of the day. So
still rocking the Force of Nature over on Raven, so he's going to be on Demo Knight duty. And Odin, he's going for the rock. He's jumping straight in, and that's a lot of pressure on that one little bit of land. And my God, he's going to use his head over on Yuval to take out Odin, but that was a lot of commitment over from the side of Aragosta to kind of deal with that sort of Odin bonanza.
That was like a triple boyfriend bomb. Both of the soldiers and Odin just sending themselves in simultaneously into that entire clump of a combo, and it just somehow worked out. Still, though, a decent play by Aragosta nevertheless to keep their medic alive, keep themselves in this, right? They're gonna have equal Ubers to deal with on the second. Down a round with 10 minutes on the clock. Still anybody's game, theoretically, but Aragosta are gonna have to pick up the pace again, and they've not looked like the team with a lot of momentum right now. They take a long time to get a lot of stuff going and to get around, right? It took a while to get their first run on the board, so if they're going to continue at that pace, then that's just going to play more into Aware's favor here, as they're certainly setting up for some sort of play into the second, seeing what they can get away with potentially. Some cheeky picks, some cheeky charge, who knows what they might have in their cards here.
Now, the thing with this Demo Knight is it's not very good defensively. It seems like the best defense for this team is a good offense. So sometimes they're going to throw an attempt out, and they feel like it works best if it plays off of another player going in as well. But Odin is getting pressured, and he can actually use it as an escape route. Onga's going to get picked off on the flank as well, but that was all to make a bit of room for Sake to make his bomb in. Doesn't quite find Yuval, but you know, it was a nice attempt nonetheless. They're going to back off and kind of lick their wounds on mid over on Aware.
I mean, Sake got in for free, basically. Just the bombs deep in behind, nobody even trying to deny him. Unfortunately, can't quite get the follow-up, and looks like we're going to be looking at a bit of an exchange here on the midpoint instead now. Slightly better Uber, I'd say, for the side of Aware. They could flash a bit less as well, but it won't matter. Positions just reset off the back of it, and nothing comes out of it at all.
Yeah, they're playing cool, calm, and collected. I think they realise that obviously being a round-up is a very powerful thing in this stage of TF2. You can play things very slow and allow the enemy team to do mistakes. But I gotta give credit to Aragosta, not just kind of jumping in because they have to. They can jump in when they need to, and they're just taking a bit more patient. And they're actually building things just that little bit better over on the side, but it is marginal.
Ever so slightly. Still, Aragosta have to start taking some initiative, because all this is accomplished now is it's burned about a minute and a half of their shot clock, of their opportunity to bring themselves back into this, right? Tie it up, maybe take it to a golden cap, maybe even win in regulation time, and they have to take the initiative. They have to do something here. And again, Aware aren't going to have an easy time defending. If you start responding to the aggression with aggression yourself, you might actually have a good opportunity to deal with it, but I think they're just trying to bank on being able to benefit from mistakes that Aware might make and go off the back of that instead. And, well, Sake dying might just open a little bit of a window here for them to try and make something happen, as the rest of Aware immediately realizes they have to back off and put themselves in a better position for this inevitable Uber exchange that's going to come their way.
Okay, Buko holding close. I think they were posturing to maybe see if they can get a nice multi going off at that choke area, and it has. Maybe not the most fantastical multi I've ever seen in my life, but it has forced the Uber out, and they've retreated back out. And Davey finds himself on the sharp end of a stick, and he's going to go down. That allows a lot of room. They can basically get him for free. Oh my goodness, they actually get the medic with another slice and dice, and these remaining players are trying to get on top of Forgiven. It won't work out. Odin is not giving up, though. He's creating more space. He actually craters somebody with a melee weapon. Odin keeping Davy at the door, and Davy at the door is not Davy at the point. It is 3-1 for Aware.
Starting to look a little dicey, not just by virtue of the fact that they keep getting sliced up, but score-wise as well for Aragosta, as they're 2 rounds down now, 7 minutes left on the clock. It's certainly feasible, but they have to start looking like a different team. They don't look like the team right now that can convert 2 rounds in 7 minutes, unless they really step stuff up, starting with this mid-fight, which really has to go their way. It looked solid last time around, but it really has to be decisive, and well, they lost the last one as well, even if it looked solid.
Oh my god, Erentru getting a lot of hatred to start off. Odin's going to come in and charge into nothing, however, and there's a lot of pressure on Aware right now. They haven't really got anything to deal with all this aggression from Aragosta, and yeah, you afforded a lot of luxuries on different classes on Aware, but it seems like they don't really find him this time around. Unforgiven is might be able to get himself out. Erentru trying to keep his boy safe, and Raven is going to just push him out. It's not going to kill him, just going to push him out of the second.
Fair enough. It's a zoning tool that forces nature at the end of the day.
They didn't cap mid, yet. So they can push back in. Davey, though, is setting up some traps somewhere, so they have to maybe keep in mind that might be some kind of trap shenanigans, but they're not going to catch him this time around. They're just pressuring at choke at the moment.
That's they could have gotten a lot better, but that's probably going to slow things down a little bit too much for them. Still, they're going to have to keep up the pressure. Aragosta doing a good job. Luko very low on Archer as well, has to get healed up. Bit of a having to backpedal a little bit, and I think Aragosta's slowly realizing that being as aggressive as the enemy team is probably the answer here. It's probably your best opportunity, at least, as the exchange.
Uber from Buko, and this is a lot of multiing happening at choke, and they want to maybe keep Unforgiven from getting out here. Odin's actually going to come in at the tail end of this last remnants of this Uber, and they managed to weasel themselves in, keep themselves healthy enough. There's no ammo, I think, for any of the Augusta players, and they just didn't seem to shoot anything at all there. I think everyone was just kind of missing their mouse buttons there.
Not really getting anything done, and just slowly but surely feeding Odin more and more kills. That's like the scary thing as well, right? You're kind of discrediting that Demo Knight a lot of the fight, because, you know, you're jumping around, you're up on the high ground and whatnot. As soon as you go down there, it's sharks in the water, man. That guy is directly next to you. He's ready to just clean you up. He's getting that last hit on you, and he's gonna get fully healed off of it. It's a nasty situation to find yourself in. The floor is lava, except the lava is just a really angry Scotsman with a sword.
You've got to give credit to Aware that not many teams would kind of go for that fight in a post-Uber situation. Usually you're pretty happy about just making the enemy team pop in those places, and Odin, he just kind of went in and drew a little bit of fire. Mackie is going to go behind, but they're just dealing with all the aggression that's jumping into this choke area. Man, everyone's struggling to hold these chokes, and I'm sure Mackie enjoyed his trip over into the enemy territory, because his team really could have needed him back in those couple of seconds of the game.
And another classic play there. Odin just goes into the combo, acts as basically a flashbang. Sake just comes in, nukes with his bomb, and
Scramble for last. We need to defend this point. Sticky's on point. Heavy weapons guy. They've already lost Raven, and they've popped off the Uber. They kind of mismatched their Ubers and their flashings, though. They lose 2 players during the midst of what should be the most invincible timing, and they're still entering the fold. They've got a different sword now, a different flavor of Odin to deal with. The soldier goes in, kamikaze suicide play. Erentru is MG over on the last point, doesn't quite find the rockets, all the confidence to keep going in with this. Raven is back from the dead. Might even lose out to this fight, will eventually clean up Erentru, and whew, that was way too close for comfort here, Cerny.
And it's not over just yet either. The Ubers are still equal. It might even be slightly better for Unforgiven. At the end of the day, they're attacking anyway, and I think we're at the point now where unless Aragosta can have the most insane coast-to-coast and then another insanely quick round, we might be entering garbage time, where it is basically a 1 game for Aware already. Odin using a different sword entirely. And
just goes the physical push. Now, sadly, though, I think you kind of need the health back mechanic.
Yeah.
There's just way too much good players in this game damaging you at all times. Odin hoping to get greedy and maybe if I can just get multiple charges off with the Persian sword, perhaps I can have a bit more impact. It doesn't work out this time. I think they're banking on this clock kind of giving them a bit of bailout here. So even if there was some huge failures, they can't lose the game.
And I feel like it's only slightly turning right now because Aware are, maybe getting off the gas
Oh,
pedal a little bit.
Odin's in. He's taking a Weasley sort of round the
Oh
kill.
my God,
Sake,
no
a nice
way.
little stab onto Yuval, and this embraces maybe the rest of Aware to play a bit more into the chaos, but it's odd. Erensha, surprise! I'm heavy weapons guy, and I've taken a good chunk of your teammates out.
How are they winning?
But, Raven, he's going for last. They need to be aware of this, though. He's on the point. They're completely shell-shocked by this. Odin, he's going to take a dive bomb onto the point to block it away from that Raven back cap there.
That Sake stab was unbelievably lucky, by the way. He literally decloaked half a second
going
before.
to last. He's on the spyglass, but they're aware of it. They've sent two players back to deal with him and a heavy weapons guy. They managed to cap the second point as well. Buko and Odin are still fighting things at the choke area. Raven is running for his life. I've got a sword, but I don't want to fight the sword master.
Yes. Yeah, we're looking at Owen just having fun.
Odin?
What a surf there from the jug as well. Oh my god. Okay, but surely,
it's a cool world.
You can't do anything against the force of nature there. That's my god. Well, that's Aware taking the map. There's no shot for Aragosta to come back now. They can get a consolation round. Maybe get a little bit of momentum headed into Sultry if they don't lose Yuval again here. Oh my god, you can't let that happen. Buko just slips right in. And it might very well be over off the back of that. There was a chance, now it's completely gone. Archer is on mid as the heavy as well. It's pure BM, pure shenanigans. Everybody's just having, well, whatever fun they can at this point with us. At least Aware are probably enjoying themselves. I don't know about Aragosta, they might not be as happy with the situation right now.
All right, Cerny, you got 40 seconds of bonus glazing time compared to our usual adventures here on the cast. I mean, there's not much point to kind of cast at this point. Everyone's kind of maybe taking their hands off the keyboard or taking their hands off their minds, I should think, if they're tilted over on the side of Augusta. So, what was impressing you? What were you liking about this match that you've just watched?
When Aragosta realized that they need, when they had the aggression going, they were looking solid. They were when they had good focus, when they had the aggression on their side, and responded in kind basically with Aware, because I think that's one of the simplest ways to deal with the Demo Knight team. They can't have good defense, so if you can just overwhelm them quickly enough, that worked for them well. Unfortunately, they didn't do it enough. I feel like they only really realized it in the last 10-ish minutes of the map, and by that time, Aware were kind of running away with it already, right? Obviously, Aware, as per usual, playing around the Demo Knight extraordinarily well. It's almost like they've been doing it for way too many seasons at this point and know exactly how to make it work. And yeah, it shows. If you don't have a team that's perfectly locked in on abusing the weakness that Demo Knight actually gives you, you kind of start running away with it a little bit.
I think there was a lot of interesting things about this game. Not only did we see the regular Demo Night, which I'm sure is very fun for everybody to watch on the stream, and there were some very stylish moments with the charge and targe and all that, but there was the aspects that I'm interested in, which is what benefits do you get from running the Demo Night on the rest of your team? For example, Erentra has got access to this health pack at the start of mid that you can have a bit more of a play on this roaming class to start off your fights with and kind of pick things off from there. You have these double scouts that can get onto these Ubers at the last point and go for the quick captures a lot easier than just getting your demo man in and in a place to actually do damage. You've also got the fact that Buko doesn't feel like he's sharing this Uber as much with a demo man that needs to be on top of the medic because, he's an explosive class. He needs all that health afforded to him. They can just kind of snap that sort of single scout Uber a lot easier and faster. And I'm pretty sure if you break down all the elements of this game, was everything that Augusta lost in was just unusual TF2, just not really what they used to. And I think it's a little bit down to things outside of the game here, Cerny, because I'm not sure if you know this, nobody is scrimming aware. Nobody wants to play
Yeah,
against this team. Nobody wants to play against their conventional ways, their market gardener on wheels. It's a very strange breed of TF2. And if you're playing against 5 other teams or 7 other teams or a billion other teams in TF2, why are you going to practice for this 1 percentile when you have
exactly.
other
Yeah.
games to practice for? And this is biting teams in the ass compared to certain other teams.
Yeah, I feel like the only teams that can actually afford to do that are the ones that are just so mechanically sound. They have just such a skill level that is above what Aragosta can currently field, at least, that they can get away with it, right? They can win on pure DM alone and like just having the strats so ironed out that it doesn't really matter. They might get caught off guard still, but nowhere near as much as the lesser teams do. And this is what we're seeing here with Aragosta. They don't have that ironed out skill level, right? This is a team with also a lot of new faces to Prem, right? These players don't have the degree of experience to just easily, quickly adapt on the fly. And as you mentioned, not scrimming against the Demo Knight, not really knowing what you might expect at every corner, it's coming back to bite you in this case. And we'll have to see how that goes on Sultry, which is probably going to make things even worse. It might. I mean, I don't know what Demo Knight is like on Sultry. I know he's pretty good on process. You get a
It's
lot of
we
cheeky
saw a bit of
spots.
we got to see a bit of sneak peek of Sultry. It was actually the map they took away from Nandem. So if I was on the side of Augusta, I'd be kind of quaking in my boots just a little bit. Also, it's the map known for chaos, the ones that
True.
kind of shackle teams away from this usual point by point areas, these mini managers, these sort of chess games. Oh wait, Sultry. Whoopsie, I'm mixing it up with a different map. Whoopsie, I was thinking of Bagel. No, I've never seen Sultry. Actually, I've completely retract everything I
You
was
sounded
saying.
like you knew what you were saying.
Nope,
It sounded so.
I'm pretty sure every single time I've ever loaded this map, I keep thinking it's Bagel. It's not Bagel. I even played Season with this, and I still mix it up. Cast of the Season, by the way.
As that's why we love him. That's why we love him, don't we, folks? I mean, like Sultry is interesting, right? Because
We don't see it. That's an
we don't
example of
see a
one.
lot.
We don't see
Yeah.
it so much that I don't even know it's there. So this has got to be kind of weird for both teams. I think this is probably going to benefit the team that thrives off chaos the most because there's less
Yes.
sort of regular conventions for this team, and obviously they just kind of wing it a bit more. So if I'm Augusta, I'm still kind of quaking in my boots here, but at least it's not Nandem losing quaking in my boots.
It's also interesting because a very common strat for this map is because the last is very difficult to push, like some other 5CP maps as well, but especially on this one, you kind of just want to win decisively on second and then just roll straight into last. And you need a lot of momentum to do that. You need a momentum based team. And if there's a momentum based team I can think of, it's certainly going to be Aware. That's kind of like their whole spiel. They snowball or they hit a wall. That's all they can do. Those are the only two modes they have. Hold W or die. So, if you're Aragosta, you have to find a response to that, right? You have to either really, really tighten up your defense, not let anything slip by, which is very hard when you've got a Demo Knight and 2 soldiers basically ready to coalesce at any time, or you have to play aggressively enough that they can't really, you know, concentrate as much on like single target. It's just too chaotic even for them at some point, which it's tough. It's tough. If you're Aragosta here, it really is a rock and a hard place. You gotta just pray that your scrims that you might have been doing on Sultry have borne fruit with good strategies or something like that.
There's a little aspect of Demo Knight we haven't really talked about yet. I know I feel like we've been talking about this until we're blue in the face, but it's very new. It's very interesting, and Odin keeps finding extra little tidbits to kind of throw in that we don't really get to talk about in the 6v6 world. And that is, he's kind of rocking that. Is it the Persian Persuader or Persian Pursuer or whatever
Persuader.
The Persuader. Okay, so basically he's toying with this weapon. He's also using it in the pre-game, and obviously that switches things from that sort of, kill a guy, snowball off the hell. This is more about constant reset and maybe just getting a bit more impact and like multiple charges. Do you think this is probably a better flavor of Demo Knight to actually play in a 6v6 setting? Or do you think you should just go back to that all health back sword?
I think realistically, it depends on your opponent. I think they're getting away with the Persian Persuader more right now because Aragosta aren't locked in enough to deal with the Demo Knight. Normally, if a team is good at dealing with the Demo Knight, they will be focusing him whenever he's on screen, which means you absolutely need the Katana to heal with, because otherwise you're just completely out of luck, right? You're just gonna get mulched. And the Persuader, like, yeah, you can snowball, you can try to go really quick and have some momentum, but that would require even more coordination from your team, even more follow-up from your team. I think they're only getting away with it right now because Aragosta are struggling to deal with the Demo Knight to begin with. So that's why they can do it. But also, it looks like we're going to be changing servers because teams are having trouble with their players joining. Happens to the best of us.
I see. Let me see if I can hunt down the SDV as well. But if we had to just put Odin away for more than 10 seconds now and just have a little kind of talk around any of these other players, has anybody else been jumping out at you here, Cerny?
I mean, to be fair, I do have to actually say the Aragosta scouts have both been doing pretty well. I think they've both been doing better than I expected them to be doing so far. They've been on top of their game. They've been shutting down whatever they can with the soldiers, right? Obviously, Raven with the Force of Nature being the one counter that they potentially had against Odin, and at least getting the better of him sometimes. And then Triple just being solid as well, getting the damage and the follow-ups that he needs to. Bit of a quieter game out of both Rodisher and Mackie. They had their flashes, but they're not getting away with as much, unfortunately. Also because the other scout was pretty strong. But
is that the person to blame here, or is there any other sort of person we could be picking on in the caster booth?
Picking on, like highlight in a negative light.
Yeah, you know what? Keep it balanced. You need your yin with your yang, Cerny. So who do you think could, you maybe do that a little bit better?
I gotta say, Davy's been getting caught a little bit too much for my liking. He's obviously he's not fighting a mirror match, right? He's not fighting against another demo man. It's a more unusual situation to be in, but he's getting caught in situations where you really shouldn't be, even if you were just against a normal team. So he's a bit too overextended, gets left alone a little bit too much, like strays from the combo slightly too much, that sort of stuff, right? He overextends himself a bit too frequently for my liking, and that's probably also causing a lot of these fights to turn around. When he's in the right position, he nukes. He absolutely nukes. There were a lot of situations, especially in Process, where he was essential to turning the tide of a fight. But those situations aren't common enough. He's not pulling enough weight just yet.
I think what's interesting about all these Demo Man matchups, and I've only watched a couple now of these Demo Night sort of gameplay, but not only championing who's the better Demo Man in the server, but you're championing your playstyle of Demo Man. There's got to be points where, if you feel like you're on Davey and you're like, man, I'm not making this look great right now, and other people are wondering, maybe I should play this Demo Night. If you feel like you're putting people off an entire style, that's got to be a bit disconcerting as a player. You're not doing the class justice.
Perhaps. We're going to start it soon, Turbo. What do you think? How is this going to go? Do you reckon Aragosta have a chance at finding themselves back in a match here, at somehow getting a response, somehow taking home some points here? Or are they going to be the team that feeds away 6 points tonight?
I think it's a big part of the 5 CP success rate for the Demo Knight is whether or not it can have a good matchup on mid. And the mids are different in this sense that there's not a rock to jump off. So the Demo Knights, I don't think, are going to be as aerial as you saw in Process. But they also have a bit of a weird sightline from going from Frog, where you can kind of just turn up to the core of the team, directly around a corner, straight on top of the combo, and have some immediate impact. And that's got to be quite stressing, I think. So I think we're going to see another kind of Process result turn out here.
All right, yeah, that's fair. I guess we'll see. If Aragosta can find themselves back into the match. Map 2 of Aragosta vs. Aware. We're taking Process now onto Sultry as they try to close it out. Aware really want those points and get themselves a chance of playoffs, while Aragosta just kind of want to not lose more and, also keep their chances alive for playoffs, but also not be the team that feeds 6 to the Demo Knight team. As Odin goes in deep early and doesn't really quite find anything he wants to. They still try him out for Davey on the other side though, but that's it. That's all they really find as they lose more and more players. Archer, Unforgiven, both dead as were for each side of Aware. They finally find Juvalos, get him out of the equation. Now it's just an all holds to the bar.
Oh my
anything
God,
you
they're
can
actually
do.
They're actually making a good go at this, a good DM little sesh, and they bring it back from the brink here on Aware, and they're giving Mackie the runaround. Oh, I say that, he manages to get a nice stylish direct onto Sake, but I mean, to say that Aware entered that mid, they completely pretend Unforgiven isn't there anymore. They don't help him, they don't save him. He spends so much time dodging and weaving, still goes down. Literally all their game plan is for Aware is just to go onto the combo and think that I'm going to DM and outshine these players.
And it worked. In the end, it kind of worked, and it even gives them a bit of an Uber ad considering how much earlier Unforgiven ended up dying. It's not a massive ad, mind you, it's only like 15% maybe, but it's still something. It's still something to work with, and if they want to move quick, which Aware like to do, there's a good chance that they can actually accomplish something with this here. A nice little pipe eaten there for Umger, though. He's going to get down Mr. President that one for the time being. He eats a lot of damage as well before having to force himself out of there. Buko gets that first kill onto Roger.
Very nice.
That's Davey dealt with as well. Beautifully done already. This is the winning on second. This is the winning on second they need to do, yeah.
Yeah, they should definitely keep going with this. This is a good opportunity to maybe force out some Ubers, get Uvel, but they don't want to concentrate on Uvel. Oh my goodness, if you're going to pull out shots like that, you can concentrate on whoever you want, Erentro. I will shut my mouth. Good God, that was a nice little air shot to finish off the boy and their last hopes on the blue team.
Turns out there's still some stuff you can trip off of. That's a nice little surf there by Odin. Okay, alright. Turns out there is still some stuff you can do on this map. Doesn't matter, it's just for the rollout, but this is a beautiful situation for Aware now. They have a big, fat Uber advantage to work with. They have to deal with, well, not much defenses so far. It is essentially being built as a sniper, some stickies on the point at best, but Sniper doesn't get that much on this last point, especially defensively, and there's the Uber from lower,
scout,
so
Uber, charioting straight from the get-go, but you're seeing a bit of weakness here. How is two scouts supposed to deal with a sentry gun? They lose one scout in an Uber charge. Odin doesn't really have too much impact going into this fight, and now they have to fight things pretty difficultly. They're trying to get on top of Yuval. Yuval will keep himself alive this time round, but I mean, well, it's just never in the play cards if you lose your scout during an Uber.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate one to lose quite early. Now a counter-aggression coming out of Aragosta. Unfortunately for them...
Oh, Unforgiven! Mackie, he does not let go. He holds grudges and he gets on top of the medic. And, well, maybe Sake could turn things around here on the spy class.
I was going to say, unfortunately for them, they are rocking the crits as well for the side of Aragosta. It's good for now, obviously, but especially with Unforgiven going down. But they need to make use of it eventually, right? It's going to be pretty null and void if they don't, and with Sake now finally getting behind as well. Buko gets taken care of. They deal with that Odin Demonite charge in as well. They want to keep this clean. They're shutting down what they need to, but they need to worry. That Spy is going to be a problem eventually. If Sake gets very lucky again and just gets it handed to him on a silver platter maybe even, then that's a stab on the medic waiting to happen, and even if it's just a crit, that's out of the equation.
I think they're aware of Sake, by the way. There's a lot of turning eyes, turning heads over on Augusta. They've only got a level 1 sentry gun to deal with. They clean up the spy class, and maybe that's for the better, so he can maybe have some impact going in. A nice clean crit sticky on top of that medic class. No Uber charge for you, and they've even got some stickies knocking at the door, but they're not really committing in with the rest of their troops going into last. They're going to take a nice, slow, agonizing push into this last point. Triple is going to be the only one to step forward, and my God, I think if they just kept going forward, they could have made it happen there, but it was just too hot for them, and they get out over on Augusta.
Scared to commit. I think they were scared to commit to take more ground there, Aragosta, and that ended up biting them really, really hard, because that would have been a nice little push to convert. Unfortunately, now they're on the back foot, and they have to keep on the back foot, because they're getting a lot of pressure put on them already, and Yuval's still looking okay on health and stuff, but Crits is ready as well. It's another opportunity, and they need to make it work. Again, if this finds its target, if Unforgiven gets sniped once more by a crit sticky, all is forgiven, and they can indeed turn this around again, but they need this crit to land, and I don't know if we're going to fall for it twice in a row, right? They're aware that those crits are still in play. They're going to put themselves in positions where it might not be as much of an issue, and the longer they wait, that Uber's going to come to play now. Unforgiven is going to have his, and if they pop it smartly, they're not going to get popped by anything crit-wise whatsoever.
Well, interesting choice for Augusta. They decide to just let them have Uber over on Aware. Usually a death sentence for any crits is an Uber charge directly in. So, but it put pressures on them. Like, they basically need to connect with this Uber, really get on top of Uvel during all of this. Buko is going for the solo YOLO Uber charge in. Uvel is nice little sticky jump. I'm not seeing many scouts sticky jump in this game, but Davey helping his boy out. They're trying to get on top of the scout. Will manage to clean him up, but Uvel is almost upset and livid at his team for kind of helping that scout put him in the panic zone.
That would have been insane if it actually worked out. Yuval just about weaving just enough as well, eating the shots he needs to. The follow-ups there to clean up that very dangerous scout that you just get mosquitoed at you, basically. But still, they gotta be careful here. Yeah, Sake's already in. They still have that crits that they're sitting on, but they're on the back foot. They need to make this connected at some point here.
They see the beam. Uvel, he's holding his first foot forward, and they throw in 2 soldiers on the man. Won't pop off the crits because it's not like it's going to save him, and maybe they don't need the crits. Maybe the threat of the crits alone is enough to do the job. Oh no, Unforgiven is... manages to get out! Oh, what a miraculous turnaround from Omga, and Unforgiven, a nice sequence of plays and a huge melody of mediocrity for poor Augusta. They're coming back in, they've got the confidence of the Uber. What is a laser beam to a man you can't kill?
This is crumbling so much for Aragosta, and yet Yuval lives for so long. Eventually gets taken care of though, and finally they can switch off of that crit spin. For too long, it doesn't matter though. Yeah, they're just getting mulched. Nobody coming in can even try to follow up at all. They're getting completely destroyed. Wait, they were hoping, throwing everything, begging for that Unforgiven frag there to salvage something, but it's not happening. Now they have to hold last, and there's a chance they can do it, but they gotta get a defense mounted very, very quickly. Spawn is just now coming up as well, and Aware, well, actually they're looking a bit slow. I was thinking they might move quickly on this, but they're taking their time. They know that they're in the driver's seat still for the time being, and I guess we'll see how they approach this last push.
It's got to be a beautiful thing when you see the stock of a player go up live before your eyes. And the stock for Omga is high right now. It's strong alongside his sister company, Unforgiven. Well, now they've got an Uber charge. Now they're going to this time come in and hopefully not drop a scout during the Uber. They have to claim up a sentry gun during it. They do manage to pull it off, and they even get a bonus demo man kill with their own demo man. That's 2 scouts on the point, though. They haven't got the stickies to make this into a simple gameplay. They're going to have to do this manually, one by one. Bit by bit, no point by point, as they are just taking things nice and slow. They're going to have to out-DM this. They can't just keep playing the point. They actually use the Uber. Nice air shot from Mackie to defend the line. Unforgiven, you are not forgiven. You are going to stay in this place with me, and he will go down at the tail end.
I was worried for a second because I saw everybody dead except Omger. I didn't realize he just spawned, because if he was somehow slipping in behind, that could have still turned around for Aware. Unfortunately for them though, they're not going to get this one this time around. Aragosta back in the driver's seat at least for a bit. Opportunity now for them to convert something here, but it can change so quickly. You know what can happen with this Demo Knight. He's a menace, a constant threat looming over your head, a sword of Damocles waiting to fall, and if you're not ready for it, man, there it is.
No,
that's Mackie taken care of.
Somebody
not quite the target he wanted, but
somebody had to bit the bullet there, and Odin, he's just going to take a little time out. A nice little crossbow sandwich. Arantra right on top of the rest of core Aragosta players. They've been sent packing to second point, but they still have packed in there an Uber charge. Oh, Uvel maybe toying with his life. The spam and a sword come in at the same time. They have to use the Uber, and I think they're just going to have to settle for the midpoint, although they're humoring the idea of just strong arm in the second.
I mean, there's no players on it right now, right? We're very far back. They're back to their own last. Basically, they got a forward spawner. Sure, they got, Archer sitting there as a sniper. Could
They've
be
got the Uber.
Potentially
double scouts.
The Uber push
they're going
might
in.
Be
They see the medic, but he's just going to take the scout taxi out. What is a lowly scout to do? And Odin charges in, nothing to latch onto. Rotature, he's dealing with 3 players caught out of the fight, so there is a moment of weakness here for Aware. Odin going back in for the second charge, doesn't quite latch onto someone, keeps the Demo Knight out of there, gets a Demo Knight shaped health pack, and well, we're back in to another mid-fight. They're playing off more chaos. Triple is going to downgrade Eritrea to a death sentence. Odin, keeping himself alive, forces out the Uber. They have to retreat again. Another scout taxi's been given now. And, they actually hold the line. They actually decide to turn, and it works out for Aware. We're going back into it. Respawners are coming from the forward respawn from Aragosta, but we keep on pushing.
It's just an endless back and forth chaos all around. No slowdowns, no waiting. You're just going. It's always go time. Now the tides have turned. The tables have flipped. It's Aware trying to get into second. And even though a lot is happening, it's a slower match so far. 10 minutes in, not a round converted just yet. Neither team really managing to convert the last pushes so far. It's a bit of a leapfrogging situation.
Raven, he's in the forward respawn. So,
it's gonna matter,
and the medic is on the point. He's taking a point forward. Can't find the snipe on him, however. But they get a trap onto Buko. That's annoying. I don't think they're aware that Raven's even there. He's going to switch off into shame. Shame the poor sniper who missed the medic on the point.
Equal Uber situation on last for once. I don't think this has happened before. This is a novelty. We haven't seen this so far, and this is where Sultry is going to do its best work, as in it's going to be really tough now with this equal situation for Aware to bust it.
Certainly, we've seen with our own eyes though that they can't really play the point like a lot of teams do. It's usually it's one of the more simple aspects of TF2, right down to those those low divisions all the way to the high. You put people on the point, you put stickies on point. How do block point? But that's not a simple equation here for the boys on Aware.
Very much so. Also, the sniper play, I mean, it can work, right? This is one they're banking on again. They tried it on Process. It worked eventually. Buko is a bit of a menace on that, but this left side is not the good sniper angle you want to have. They know he's there. You really don't get much of a sideline beyond this little bit past the fence, and I don't think anybody's going to be keen enough to peek that. You really have to try and get aggressive on the right side instead. Maybe win the sniper duel, but even then, all you're doing is really just denying them a bit of ground for a while, right? And Triple, I mean, he's been hitting shots as well, so still a sniper battle here. That's anybody's game so far. He wins the first headshot there, not quite the kill he wanted, but it's just this. We're looking at a little bit of 2-fort right now.
It's still 0-0, and Buko is going to get cleaned up by a Triple, so there's maybe affords the opportunity to get a bit braver over on the side of Aragosta. Sake is getting pressured in the lobby, actually pressured to death. He's going to go down, and Triple, this allows him to get really brave here. There's no soldier, I think, to kind of stop him.
Yeah, you can just peek very aggressively here. There's a nice angle onto second. And
where is everyone?
Even though the players are just kind of spread out, they're kind of just...
spread out? They're missing. Yeah. They're hiding. They've gone into like barrels.
Odin finds himself alone for a second. He's confused as well where his team is gone. Finally, they come back. They didn't quite commit too much. Aware just kind of getting out and scaring. I think they scared him. I think what happened there is
everyone get in a locker and maybe we'll all jump out at the same time.
They probably just like tried to play the scare tactic there. Like they left Odin up front just in case somebody overextends and catch them out or something like that. And obviously Aragosta maybe getting a little bit of PTSD, slightly aware of something like that maybe being in the cards. So backing out, playing it safe. At the end of the day, go for the round reset. It's 2.5 minutes on the clock, right? It's certainly a possibility. We're still 0-0, and unless these soldier bombs can start to accomplish something with Sake just getting bullied into a corner. That's not happening, though. Archer also going to get cleaned up himself, and maybe another opportunity for Aragosta if they feel themselves to get out into the second here, but taking some sweet time, not really getting much done. Mackie maybe opting to be a bit of aggressive, because now maybe going for a bomb if you find something, but again, they see nobody.
Yeah, he has a sneaking feeling that they are in frog, and he's correct in this assumption. He's spamming it out, he's getting the dings off his TF2, but they've wasted too much time. They haven't got the biggest window with those two. So, okay, well, Davey managing to make the window just last that little bit longer with Sake going down, but they have opportunity here to go for more off classes, and with every death that happens.
Yeah, always a chance that they might do something. Sake loving that spy class, and chance that he might pick it up again. No, he's going direct hit instead. I mean, if you don't have a demo,
that's cool.
This is the Sentry Killer. So
this is cool. I like this. Believe it or not, last time I've seen a play like this was like Ferrotech versus against Witness on like a map of Sunshine. So let's see if they can coordinate this well. You probably want to rock the this direct hit more in a place where you can spam down the sentry gun. Sake is in a bit of a useless spot right now.
And they just exchange actually.
Yeah, they
Fair
just
enough.
exchange
All right.
Ubers. They take out the sentry gun the regular way. I don't know why you would bring a fly swatter and not swat the fly with it, but hey ho, they jump in. Odin's going to get critted by the Frontier of Justice, and Buko is just kind of going for the point, but you don't have a demo man, my friend. I don't know what you're hoping for this gameplay to work out with, and confusing gameplay over on the side of Aware.
That's an interesting one. That's an interesting one. Odin just getting immediately clotheslined by a full face of crit from their front of justice. It worked out. There you go. Aragosta find themselves back out onto second. Might be able to parlay this into mid if they keep up the momentum. They have a big Uber ad to work with. Ideally, you wouldn't want to use, and Aware probably very much so would want that to happen, but they're not able to get positions to force anything out here. That mid is going to go the way of Aragosta, and now, well, with that Uber ad still in play, they might be even able to get into the second with that Uber. Just keep it rolling forward, right? Get as much as you can off of it. And they're going to go very aggressive, very deep, very straight away here. Sake tries to go for some sort of force. Won't quite get it. Davey might just die. He does, unfortunately. Couldn't get arrow in time, but still, they got a second off of it as well. And they still have Uber ad.
Yeah, I was hoping that maybe they might have just used the Uber out here, try and see if they can get some shy picks, because all that happens is like a bit of a stalemate now in these even Uber exchange situations. But who knows? Like, Aware seem to be the kings of kind of throwing at times, so maybe they're banking on them to do more of a mistake. Yuval's going to pop off his Uber. They respond on kind over on the side of Aware, or maybe it's more Aware was popping off Uber and they respond in kind on the other side. Seika's going to go down. Odin enters the post fight, and the post fight seems to have that bit more bite or a bit more swing. And I don't think anybody's on last at the moment. That's a scout, that's a medic.
Yeah.
They're clapping up the last point, and well, that's TF2. It's not about the most kills, it's about the most captures.
That's the aggression from Aware coming back to bite them, turning it around. They were too aggressive. They realized they were getting some frags. Every player was like, oh, I can chase this kill, I can chase this kill. Completely forgot about the scout medic combo just going straight under into Lost. And there you are. They finally convert around. It was 17 minutes in the making, to be fair. It was quite a long time coming. But they finally get there. They're up for the first time, Aragosta, in this entire series. And if they can hold on for 12 more minutes, maybe get another round, they've got themselves some points in it as the next mid-fight unfolds right before our eyes. They've eaten a lot of damage early already. Odin gets directly on top of Yuval. Just doesn't quite get the kill, misses the swing. It doesn't matter as the combo gets cleaned up by Sake anyway. And now it's the scouts wreaking havoc for the side of Aragosta, trying to do as much as they possibly can here. And maybe getting away with it too. They're still very healthy. They're cleaning up the soldiers, okay, well, except for Archer, who lives. He has to get out to his own loss, and it's a 1 mid for Aragosta.
If you kind of squint your eyes a little bit there, you could have sworn they were playing in an MGE server. I don't think anybody was kind of doing team play there. It was just kind of your own little skirmishes happening across the maps, and maybe people adding up to the same Reno at the same time, 2v1ing a bit too much. But okay, we've got Raven rocking the spy class. Is that just a class check, or is that a full fat actual? No, it's a class check. Okay. And yeah, it's quite fortunate, I think, for Ware to kind of walk away with that, because it started off awfully.
Yeah, that mid was... I mean, Odin missing his swing. He had a prime opportunity to get the medic early and miss the swing. That you live by the sword, you die by it, right? Either you get the kill or you absolutely throw and it's over. Uber. So it's going to be another Uber in. They get a little bit early on the side of Aragosta. It's still no Uber for Unforgiven either. He dies as well, so it's going to be a nice push here for Aragosta if this just keeps up the momentum. They find Buko. Maybe, yeah, they clean up Archer as well. They lose Davey in the tail end, and Raven gets cleaned up by Odin as well. All right. Odin slightly turning the tides, but...
combat classes. Omgo is feeling brave. They go in. Maki's getting punished. They throw in. That's one soldier down, but with the Odin sword, he actually suicides into another player as well. Would you believe the team with a medic and all the buffs in the world still lose out?
They did lose out on the fight, but they still got the point at the end of the day. Triple feeling himself a bit too much there. Yeah, that's ambitious. You hate to see that one. You got the DM, bro, but you gotta be a little bit more careful. You can't just let your medic die like that afterwards as well. Obviously, because of your shortcoming. Very unfortunate. Buko gets away with that one. Beautifully done, and it's gonna immediately turn the tide for Aware here. Gives them a chance to get back into this mid. Big ad working with as well. Potentially a second point to work off of it too, and Aragosta are gonna be starting to sweat a little bit.
It's a cool game. Like, There's times where you think that obviously we've got the better equation out of the 6 versus 6 players, but when the respawners go so long, sometimes it turns into a 12v12, and that was just some of those extra 6 players bleeding into the first 6v6.
That's Buko taken out of the equation early. In this push, he's not going to be a thing. They're going to Uber to
Very
Demonite
nice
instead.
punish.
Can't quite get onto Davey initially, at least. Eventually gets a clean up anyway, though, and
The ship goes like last.
Yeah, oh!
Oh no, the sentry gun has been built in time, but it's only at level 1, so it should be very easy for these soldiers to clean up. 2 soldiers could make a commanding point at last. They get bodies onto the point, shoot the ground, sir, shoot the ground, says Sake, and just we're going to get the Uber in the last moments there, but it could have gone a lot better and worse for both of these teams.
It could have. It's only Buko left alive. He has just spawned as well, so unlikely to go for any sort of backcap shenanigans, as Aragosta are going to be retaking their second instead. And it's a tough one. It's a tough one. That would have been a beautiful last push to convert for Aware, get themselves back in the match, but they're still going to be playing from behind for now. Buko picking up the sniper for this aggressive sniper play here onto the midpoint instead, seeing if you can catch somebody out that's maybe trying to jump, be aggressive. Like Aragosta, biding their time for the time being. They're not even going to push anything of it at all. They're just waiting, yeah.
The power curve of these lasts is very strange now, because obviously if you get a couple of kills in, a nice starting off force over Unaware, you don't do things quick enough. You don't actually cap the point quick enough for maybe even some of these advantages to play into it. Yeah, if you have a player advantage, but that player can eventually come back and have some influence at the last before you can even cap it. So it makes me wonder, are these soldiers a lot more valuable on Aware than they make them out to be? Nice snipe.
Goes in so deep as well, though.
Damn, we are
before he's
multi-ing.
getting Ubered. Yeah, there's so much going on. Look at the health on the side of Aware. They're all so low. All it takes is one scout to run havoc on this combo, but there aren't any. Triple couldn't quite do it, and they're all gonna get healed up anyway.
On his own, goes down. Erentred putting off 2 players. Onga still hungry for more, going for last, I'm afraid, or a kill against Maki. Maki getting styled upon, can't deal with this scout. Eventually goes down. Odin, the symbol, turning up to last, capping it ×1, excruciatingly slow. They were Unforgiven trying to cap the point when there's 3 players on top of it. Buko, I'm still rocking sniper. What do you expect me to do? Sake, I'm shooting the ground and the head comes to a close for poor Sake.
How do they hold that, man? That's a miracle. That's a miracle for Aragosta. They still somehow hang onto that. Again, the Demonite can only do so much. He's good point fodder. He's kind of tanky, but eventually you're just going to get shot from people outside of your range, especially if you have no charge to close the distance, and here you are. Now back to second, trying to push back in. They're aggressive already for Aware. They find Davey immediately with a Demonite. It's a beautiful pick, but they also get Buko taken care of on the other side.
Nice cross.
It out though. And Odin doesn't quite get onto the mid. Doesn't quite get in. Nope.
We'll get cleaned up. Sake is going to get punished as well. Brought down to minuscule levels of health, but that he's rocking a force of nature. Can't really have another in the tank to finish him off.
Not quite there. It's enough to get the second back.
5-man pasta going through one door. They take out the sentry gun. Another Uber. I don't know why we needed to use that Uber, but we used it, and we're blocking the point. They're trying to back out. Sake is a slow little soldier. Will manage to weasel his way out of that choke point, and they've done it. They've got that Uber advantage, but will they hold on to the second point?
Yeah, they have to get the second. You have the Aragosta. You have to. You have no choice
but to
get the second.
You got to take the fight.
Yeah, you have to. You have to get it out
we
early.
Pop
okay,
very
they get the Uber.
early. Extremely early. We
kited well enough. They lose Maki. I think that's an okay thing to lose. One soldier traded for this Uber out of the equation.
I mean, they could
could
go before they set up. There's no sniper or sentry gun to deal with. They all in on trying to fish out that sniper. They kept him in this second life. Heavy weapons guy, Anti-Fun is here. Can they 5 players deal with the raid boss? And it seems they can, because the sword does slay the beast.
They found the focus in the end. They got the focus they needed for Aware. They kill one target after another, and here you are. Finally, they put a round on the board. Now with 5 minutes, 45 seconds left on the clock. 1-0 once more. Anybody's game, and Aware are starting to look like they pick up a lot of momentum here. They're taking these dry fights as well. By the way, beautiful Uber Force out with all that cap time as well, right? That's basically what put that entire play into motion at the end of the day. So it worked well for them.
I'm kind of shocked that Uval used the Zuba as early as he did. Imagine how things could have gone if Ubers were kind of being exchanged in double soldier boyfriend bond straight on top of Unforgiven. Unforgiven, he's playing Superman and he will, in this film, die.
It doesn't really matter though, it's only 2 soldiers left on the other side as the entirety of the combo has been annihilated.
Soldier coming back in, hitting them with a... okay, a little bash onto Roster. He's going to go down. Mackie is going far behind enemy lines. This is not a Superman film anymore, it's a James Bond film.
He's being a spy and... No, he probably knows that there's a medic right there.
Unforgiven? How do they not... Oh,
nope.
That was... Nope. Yeah, they saved him, well done.
Beautifully done. Umger is there to block that soldier from anything. Taking care of it again as well. Raven. Owen is just getting away with way too much right now.
That's 3 players down. Essentially, desperately trying to be built here. They can push last. On top of this, second already captured. We're all just healing up. We're all packing our lunches. Soldier's going to feed his life away to buy some space and time for his teammates. The sentry gun is not an easy ordeal. Soldiers come back in. They try and block it. Odin gets the block onto 2 players. However, another heavy weapons guy. Maybe it'll work this time. Maybe it won't. The scout will come back from the living. They actually push enough people off physically and not with explosives. 2-1 on the board. It seems a marathon for Aware is actually making them finish first.
It turns out the marathon is over and they're finally going into a sprint because that's a quick round. That's a quick round to bring onto the board immediately, and now they can play however they like. They can dictate the pace of the game if they like, and Aragosta are going to be seething trying to get right back into this. They need this mid to stick. They made it stick the last time around after quite a while, after they won their first round. Now they just need to actually stick the rest of the round with it as well.
Odin, sneaky, going around the corner, gets the slice and dice onto the medic, and it should be pretty simple sailing here for the rest of... Oh, well, Unforgiven does get picked off by Raven, however. There's not really a safe bunker, but it's still overall a pretty neat win for Aware on this midpoint.
It's just a symbolic mid for Aragosta at the end of the day. Like, they get the consolation, right, with the medic pick, but it's not gonna matter. They won't have a defense on last in time with how aggressive this Aware team is. It's just not gonna matter at all.
Cerny, it's that mid, it's that round the corner frog gameplay I was talking about. They didn't see Odin coming. He literally just took the express train straight to Uval, and Uval suffered for it. What are you supposed to do if your medic is the first one to die on mid?
It's very, very unfortunate indeed, and now they have to hold this aggressively. I like what I'm seeing of Aragosta. They're being very aggressive, trying to somehow get something out of this. Unfortunately, it's not working. Mackey's dead. They're eating a lot of damage as well. There goes Raven.
No sentry gun.
Goes already in, no sentry. There goes your demo. Davey taken care of. Halftime being put down already as well.
They can't do this simply though. They need to play the point and use their explosive casters. They throw in the... They've got a couple of respawners though over on Mackie. They get the Uber, but this is a bit awkward. So one respawner coming out, that's Raven, tag him in, but it's another one into the rage of the cage, but Mackie gets clothesline on the back line. It's 5 players in, they're all raging on top of the cage, but they can't quite keep it together. It is going to be the belt to Aware in this round.
And probably the bell for the map. Now that they're up 2 rounds, with 2 minutes left on the clock, it's starting to look like perhaps Aragosta have run out of stamina. They're just not getting there anymore. They're not getting the stuff they need to get done, right? They're getting very sloppy, and it doesn't matter. Like, unless this is an insane mid, and then they also get another round, you know.
Just rocking heavy weapons guy. I guess we've taken a steak sandwich and we're gonna... Oh no, we're not even steak sandwiching. We are slowly waddling over to Unforgiven. He's decided to eat the sandwich now, which is an interesting point of play. But we've entered the fight. We don't even need one of our players, it seems, over on Aware, as they're just kind of manning up and keeping it quite even-steven so far. Kritzkrieg is going to bubble away soon, though. Erentra finally turning up to mid, having a little bit of impact. If you can call all these 6s and plinks and 4s impact. And yeah, they're going to see if they can... Oh, crits! Give him a little dodge. Erentra, another duck and weave. Still not quite going down. Eventually dies for the cause. And, well, that's a crits gone, baby.
Yeah, I mean, they need to make it stick not just with that. They need to finally get into this team. They do get the Uber out of
Persian is persuading, and he has a silver tongue. He is really a thorn in the side of poor Aragosta. And oh god, Buko's even going to pistol down Mackie's beloved demo man. And oh well, they're having other little ventures here on the other side of this server.
That's how it goes. Turns out, you don't need an entire army. One Persian is enough. You don't need that many. One is enough to take on an entire world here right now. And Aragosta are just, I mean, they've probably thrown their hat, right? They're kind of giving up at this point as well. They're just making the most of it. Another beautiful serve in there, trimmed in by Odin. Just gonna spawn camp a bit. Doesn't even matter. Point gets capped anyway. Nobody on Aragosta is even feeling like fighting anymore. They've given up. There you go. It's 3-1 the way of Aware. They take both maps. They get themselves 6 points. Very, very crucial points for their playoff dreams to still be alive.
Yeah.
Somehow. Because with that, they're actually putting themselves straight up directly behind Nunya, just 1 point shy of them, 2 points shy of the Czech team. So if they get some more points in that match against the Czechs, they might actually be into the playoffs.
I can hear the sound of our producer, Ben, clicking away at a calculator, putting all the ETF2L points into his supercomputer to figure out the optimum scenarios that are going to happen and unfold. But we've still got matches to play. This might be a week 5 game, but we've actually got many other games to cover and look forward to here, Cerny. And yeah, like you said, top 3 is the prize.
That is the prize indeed. Their logs are on screen. You can see the numbers. Triple. You gotta admit, man, a couple of misjudgments being too aggressive, but he's fragging. He's fragging. He's damaging.
He's fragging because everyone's just jumping in.
Everyone's just running into him all the time. Yeah, he's gonna just get the free damage fed to him. But it's probably the one thing that was keeping Aragosta in that for quite a while. You gotta mention it where it's due. That being said, though, just solid performance out of Aware all around, right? You see the numbers. The scouts were running rampant. Umger and Buko both having great moments. Soldier's pretty quiet for both teams, mind you, but pulling a little bit more weight, it seems, on Aragosta at the end of the day as well, maybe.
I'm going to be a bit cruel to the team of Aragosta here, but I think if they were playing against any other team on this Sultry map, I think it would have been a lot more damning because a lot of times the bailout came in the form of just they didn't have stickies at last for Aware. So if you were playing against any other team that has the sticky launch and they can just stick up that point, I think it would have been a bit harder for them. But then again, you could also say that the mids would have been a bit easier. All these other butterfly effects happening when there isn't a Demoman rocking a silly little samurai sword. So, that's neither here nor there. But is there anything else that you can maybe draw from the logs before we draw this to a close here, Cerny?
Not really all that much else. No, I think it's a pretty foregone conclusion at the end of the day. Where just played the better game. They had the aggression at the end of the day, and
maybe Davey is like, I hate Demoman right now. This sucks. I hate playing Demo Knight.
It's a tough matchup as well, right? Like you're still newer to Prem. I know we've seen Davey for a few seasons now, here and there, right? But still, like one of the less experienced demos in Prem, and then you get a rough matchup like this against...
I think it's the nature of your class as well. You are not the most reactive, like, oh god, there is somebody tunnel visioning on me as Demo Man. So you kind of maybe hope for you to lie back on your team and their good sort of reactionary skills. But like you said, Aragosta, full of kind of newer, fresher faces in that Prem scene. Maybe they're not used to just having to be instantaneously reactive to all these Demo Knight plays.
And it showed at the end of the day. Overwhelmed by the aggression of the Demo Knight, the rest of the team following up. GG's for Aware. They're probably very happy about the opportunity to now make playoffs, but I'm pretty sure if they want to actually have a chance, they need to get 5 points next match. Just thinking about it, I think they need to get at least 5 points next match, so they need to win both maps no matter what. And at least one of them has to not be a golden cap, which means, they have their work cut out for them because the Czechs are a slightly stronger team for them.
But I see it all clicking together. I'm seeing Aware learning lessons. I'm already liking what I'm seeing compared to the other forte of the match. Sadly, it is a bit of a smaller season, so they haven't got as much room to grow. But that means the other teams don't have the same sorts of convenience as well. So we'll see. The only way you can find out is keep tuning in to essentials.tf. Follow all of our Twitters and our Discords and whatnot to keep up to date with when our next casts are going to come and arrive on. Obviously, we'll update other little Team Fortress sites to keep you in and aware. And yeah, obviously your buddy Turbo Tabs and Cerny are still going to be there, casting more TF2 in the future, and you'll have Ben PL as well doing more production in the forefront. Otherwise, big congrats to Aware for tonight, and hard commiserations for Augusta, but hopefully we'll see more in the future. See you then.
See ya.